Yes, this is Sean.
We have audio problems.
I like to be going. I like to be called Mac Attack. My God-given Zwift name.
Hello.
Yeah, that's what I guess. This is Friend-of-Me Friday all over again, right? Isn't that right, Craig? Oh Lord, what have we done? This can't be good. Ooh, Craig, I recognize that name from last week. He was our sole D rider, if I'm not mistaken. That he plugged away for for a solo time trial. Yeah.
Him to come back after soloing through an HSRL and come back for more. That's very impressive. Good job, 1D Baron. Looking resplendent.
That thing is on fire.
In the chat, they're saying they cannot hear Craig.
Dun, dun, dun. Shocker. Craig is unheard.
Mac Attack is going to do what Mac Attack has to do. He's just going to start talking. I don't think we've gotten into a course overview yet of Grand Central Circuit here in the New York world. It's a lumpy one, to say the least. We've got 3 rounds going up the New York City KOM. That's a pretty steep, long, and dragging KOM all the way to the top. And then we've also got 3 times through this sprint banner. Chris, what do you think about the course?
Well, I wrote it earlier. I was surprised because I thought it was the KOM in the other direction.
Which direction is it?
It's the one where you cross the start line, which isn't really the start line, it turns out, and then you turn right, and then you hit the actual start line for the KOM. Okay. So it's the one where you get the really steep ramp at the end. So I thought we were racing the other way around. So I was tail gunning.
You were prepared for something a little bit more draftable?
Yeah, more extremes, right? It's a little bit draftable for a minute, and then it's a couple of 17-bit ramps in there, and then it flattens out a bit at the top. That's the one we did in the TFC Mad Mondays a couple weeks ago. So that, in my mind, that's where I was headed. That's what I was planning for, but it turns out it's the other way around. So in typical herd preparedness,
it is definitely the reverse segment. To give you guys an overview, it is 3/4 of a mile long at about an average grade of 6%. So there is a total gain of roughly about 220 feet across the entirety of it.
Yeah, and this is one of those climbs where that 6% does not tell the story.
Oh, definitely not. It's a lot of alterations in here. Some definitely steep bits. Chris, you saw some stuff over 16% this morning, didn't you?
Yeah, there's some double digits, 15, 16, and some draftable bits in between. So being with a group for those flat bits is key. And again, getting the start line right is important as well. So it's not the first start line you cross, you turn right, and then you hit the start line for this KOM.
It does look like, so the D Baron is getting up onto the glass roads now, and it does come pretty quickly right after that sprint, so not a lot of rest in between.
Very true. With I was telling Craig before we went live, It's this is a race of attrition. It's a lot of interval work. You got sprint and then KOM and then sprint and then KOM and then sprint and then KOM. So I actually ended up super tucking across the sprint banner for the last lap, end of lap 1, end of lap 2, just to try to get a little bit more energy conservation because it does come quickly right after that sprint does the KOM.
And it looks like that sprint is very much right on top of the heels of the. The KOM is right on top of the heels of the sprint. Maybe a mile down the road at most. So you're talking maybe a 2 to 3 minute rest, and then you're right back on the gas.
Yeah, it looks like Craig has just brought it up, but the C's have also just left the pen. I was actually thinking maybe we follow Trey Freeman.
Hey, Trey. He's a very powerful rider. I had the privilege of riding with him when he came out to San Diego in real life. So we did a day together on the bike. He's got some legs on him.
Jim Steen's in there.
Ooh, I definitely remember the Duke from last week.
Yeah, it looks like he's just turning to the actual KOM start now.
So guys, we are like maybe 2 minutes away from the B's starting off the line today. And there is something that is very unique about Zwift, and that is that initial starting sprint. What do you guys think about today? And just kind of what are your tactics for the start line as a whole? How do you get a Zwift race started?
I'm usually not going at all out. I try and get into the pen early enough that I'm right at the front and go maybe 500 watts and try and catch the back of the group without burning a match there.
Yeah, same. Same, kind of start at the front and drift backwards with the draft. The sprint comes relatively early here, like you were saying. So positioning is key, and that hill before the sprint will be and can be a breaking point for some folks. So just pay attention to that.
I definitely think that the starting sprint is that key segment of every race that you can't ignore. If you don't get in the group early, you're pretty much guaranteed to be out the back pretty soon. So personally, for me, I love to start hard, and I like to lead the pace a little bit for usually about the first mile. It helps me to settle my legs in. Mac attack for a reason, after all, right? So sometimes you just have to hammer. We got 45 seconds or so until the B race is going to kick off. Well, we've got our B group going off right now, and it looks like we have a herd of herdlings out. Cut out on me there, Craig. But you do know what they say: the West Coast is the best coast. Well, they do say that. We'll find out if it's true today. We'll watch Matt and see if he can come away with the top of the set.
Yeah, and that was my problem earlier. I burned, half a match in a segment that didn't. So be advised.
So our C group looks like they're going up the KOM as we speak and hitting a 13% grade. E group down there at 15%. We talked about how steep that was a second ago. When it comes to the bike choice, Brent, what kind of bike would you select for a course like today? Well, what about you, Chris? What kind of bike would you select for today? Or did you, since you did race this earlier?
I did select a bike, actually. I went Pinktron all the way for the
Pinktron,
the
that
balance.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, you may have heard of it. It's the fastest of all Trons. It helps you on accelerating up gradients and also descending at speed. So I thought that was the right down the middle choice, and it turned out pretty well.
On a previous broadcast, there was a scientific proof as to why the Pinktron is the fastest.
Well, I'll trust the data. I mean, the science does not lie, correct?
Never. Just like statistics never lie.
Sound?
That's right.
I'm riding a Pinktron.
So in the B group, it looks like M. Walton and Matt Def, as well as C. Ryan, have all taken a 3-man break with Hurd. They've got a small gap there of 2 seconds already going into this KOM.
Yep, that's Matt DeFreitas on a typical recovery race.
Yes. So, Sean, if you're not familiar, Matt DeFreitas is an absolute beast. So.
Well, there's so many people out here in the Zwift world that just great riders all around. So I got plenty of people to meet and plenty of people I do know. And
so
one day we'll get there.
Matt's only actually been biking for, I don't know, a couple of years now. So he's a very accomplished runner.
Runner, you say?
I do.
Oh.
Yeah, the runners are cyclists who haven't gotten injured yet.
Does look like we have 2 riders for TBR who have bridged the gap up to Walton and the Herd.
Oh, Okay, and we have the A race starting now.
Did my sound come back?
You're
It
here.
did.
Yep, we got you loud and clear, buddy.
All right. I'm on a pink Tron.
Boy.
Now, with 2/3 of this course being climbing, do you think that that's the most optimum choice? We've got 8% plus grades on a lot of this course today. So would you not select a climbing rig, maybe lighten the weight just a little bit and help improve your time up with the group up the top?
So you could, but you've also got you've got 3 sprints and a finish line all scored for time. You've got trying to keep up on the downhill and potential attacks or bridging on the downhill. I think the Tron is a really good all-rounder. I think it's a good option. You could go a little more climby. Unless you are very confident that you are the best climber in your group, I wouldn't go the heavier, more aero than the Tron, but you could go lighter.
There's a definite pinch point in my race where at the end of the first lap KOM, I was fighting to get back onto the front group of about 8 or so, where the Tron helped me do that, and with enough energy to recover for the sprint. Mm-hmm. So that was a definite bike choice moment. That being said, there was somebody in the front group at the end in the Bs who was on Rainbow Disc. I don't know if that was a pen change or if that was accurate, but yeah, that was a real power move by that person.
Putting all their cards out there saying, hey guys, if you can follow me, you do it.
Yeah, stick up with me, and then as we descend and get to the last sprint, everything falls into my favor.
So Matt Walton is sticking on Sam Atkinson's wheel.
They're just about to hit this KOM final flag here. So they're about to cross the top and he is taking a lead on Atkinson now. And
he's got 20 meters. I think there's a pretty good chance he's going to take that. I don't know what the gap was, because I think he was ahead of him at the start of the segment.
Yeah.
And
this is a point where, it's good to hit the banner first, but looking at the gaps behind, there's no point in putting 28 seconds into Matt DeFreitas.
No.
And spending all your energy on this climb when you got to do it 2 more times. Like, that's where Matt is a very strong rider. So I'm sure he knows what he's doing, but for me, I couldn't go that far, that deep into climb 1 of 3.
Well, I'm showing that he came down with a 2:35 across that KOM banner, 5 seconds the lead of Atkinson. So that was a pretty tight little battle.
That is fast. That is
a very fast time.
Lightning fast. So Brent is on the not on the climb yet, but just moving on to the glass roads with the A's.
Yeah, I think there's a couple riders who don't know what the race is. They went smoking up the swim. And they didn't win the sprint, so. Not sure what Stewart's game is here.
I think Stewart just doesn't like you, is his game.
But I used a feather on the sprint. That was a mistake.
No, I would contest that. I'm not so sure that a feather is ever a mistake in the sprint. You're still lightening yourself by 15%. Is that right? And that has an effect at the watts per kilogram as you sprint across a line. And if I do my math right, it's not my strongest subject, but I think that's multiplicative. It's exponential. There you go. That's the right word for it. Exponential. The more more power you put out, the more effect that 10 to 15% weight reduction is going to have.
Except it's a downhill sprint.
Sprint. So I had this exact same situation come up in my race on the final lap. I had a feather going into the last sprint that counted as a segment, and it was like, okay, I'm just going to sit on that until the final ramp of the KOM. I'm not going to use it on the sprint. So that's what I did. Minimal. It goes down to opportunity cost of the power up used versus where you can use it elsewhere. So think about that if you haven't raced yet, where you're going to use these power ups, depending on what you get.
Great point.
Hey guys, I had an entire power outage for a while there. Catch me up. What's going on?
Yeah.
So, Matt Walton stuck on Sam Atkinson's wheel and then beat him on a sprint to the line on the first KOM. And he's now, I guess, going to solo for 2 laps.
Yeah, he's kind of off by himself here.
Because he's ahead of Sam Matrapidis and C. Ryan from TBR. They're in a group of 3, 12 seconds back.
Well, while that's going on, you may want to check out the C race because we have a real battle going on between Wade, Freeman, Leduc, and Cheville at the front of the C race. So they just came through the sprint. They are just about to be getting into the Sky Roads again and going up to the KOM for the second round.
And just for
yeah, that's a big group.
Yeah, this is a big group, and even apart from that, I mean, we have riders all over the place already. The categories are mixed up. There's people everywhere. Yeah, this is fun.
Kind of a precursor for next week, wouldn't you say?
No, I've got no idea. I don't. Next week, I think a small number of people are going to show up, and nobody's ever going to see each other on the course again.
I don't know. I feel like at least Chris and I are going to see each other because we're just going to ride slow on Buffalo bikes and drink.
Now that sounds like fun.
Saturday at noon Pacific time. Be there or don't. It's really more of a fondo than a race. That's
Yeah.
how I'm looking at it. I got my results in for the series. I'm good.
And I didn't, so it doesn't matter.
Either way.
So as we cut to Brent on the KOM here, yeah, this is
Killing it. Look at those socks. Great kick game, Brent.
those are terrific socks.
Are those the new Pride socks for this year? It's brilliant.
So
Brent gets best dressed on the course.
Yeah, since I'm the only one that gets the real time from Brent's webcam at the same time as everything else going on, he did give you a thumbs up there, Chris.
All right, perfect. Good to know. Gotta hop into one of those Pride rides. I was looking for them earlier. I couldn't find one.
It's true, and I just saw it. I saw that thumbs up.
Solid climb, Brent.
Great job. Now the mission is find some wheels, right?
It is, and it's going to be tough. So yeah, he's got somebody 18 seconds ahead, and then Stuart Lynn 10 seconds behind.
Stuart back. You got a chunk of bees. And, I don't know. Timing and scoring is all over the place now, from what I'm looking at.
Yep. So I guess on the bees, so Matt Walton is there. He's so he is 5 seconds up on that group of 3 now. So it looks like they're going to catch him just in time for that. Just in time for the KOM, and Matt just used his feather power up before the KOM, which I gotta say I have to question.
Yeah, I think an important part of game planning this race is knowing what you're going to use in all the scenarios, depending on what you get. So, not saying that's the wrong time to use it. Maybe you need it to hang on to a group before you get onto the actual segment, which gets you some drafting time. But yeah, you got to use strategic deployment of power-ups for this race for sure, given the interval-ish nature of it.
Yeah. So Matt Walton has been caught by the group of three. So we've got a group of four at the front of the Bs. So with Matt and Matt of the herd, and the two TBR riders, Sam Atkinson and C. Ryan.
It looks like Trey is doing well, looking like he's around third in the C's going up this climb. Still right there with Dennis and a few seconds ahead of Allen, right behind Slominski and Staub.
I've been watching that C race here for a second. And it looks like Sominski has made a massive effort up the KOM here. He was trailing Ken Staub. He was trailing him for by 3 seconds, bridged that gap, and has now pushed forward. And it looks like Freeman's going to be coming up on him pretty soon here too.
Yeah,
they're at the
pacing him down.
Yeah, they're at the point here where I always find it extremely hard to keep on the pedals. This is about the time where my legs always start giving out. Things just start to hurt, and it's all about willpower pushing through. Can't imagine what they're feeling right now with another climb to go.
Yeah, I feel like this last ramp is the one where you can really either make or break your climb. If you've still got something in the legs, I feel like it might be the steepest of the ramps.
Yep. So jumping back to the B race, I gotta say it looks I don't envy Matt DeFreitas with these two guys right now. So Matt DeFreitas has taken the lead and is pushing on. He's got Sam and Matt Walton behind him, kind of jockeying for position, and yeah, they've dropped Ryan by 11 seconds already. I'm expecting Atkinson and Walton to put in an attack here, but I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, there goes Atkinson.
And Trey Freeman just rolled over second behind Slominski, about a few seconds back. But there's only, it's 3 seconds back to Sam's, 8 to Staub from Trey. So it's,
yeah,
as always, how do these groups come together on this descent?
I'll wager that they're going to come together again, but yeah, and it looks like Matt is putting a big dig into Sam Atkinson again. Just coming across the top. Wow. That is fast and hard, and he's put a few seconds into Sam again. And looks like Matt DeFreitas actually. So they're kind of contesting for number 2 there. As we hear, Brent is on the sprint. Well done.
Sorry, I should mute my mic.
It's all good. So I think Matt has picked up the strategy here. So he let up and waited for them after the finish line this time.
So in the Bs, was that Atkinson last week who was doing just stupid numbers?
Yep, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
I've chased him on hills when I was in better shape than I am now. I wouldn't be chasing right now. I'd just be waving. But it was futile then too.
So in the Cs, it does look like it's all about to come back together. The group, there's a group of about 5 that's a few seconds back of Trey, and Slominski's only 3 seconds ahead, so they should all congeal into one little group in a few seconds here.
Yep. So checking back in with the Ds, Baron has he has dropped his entire group. And there's one rider, Sam's, who is 20 seconds back. So he's got a bit of a solo ride here again.
And I'd like to give a quick shout out to our man, the Duke. The Duke. Out there in the C category, looks like he fell about 11 seconds back. Just a shout out to you, buddy. I know you've been watching the program, so good luck out there. Bridge that gap. You're doing great.
So Brent is hanging on to his couple guys here that he's climbing with as they're, I believe, approaching the real start line this time.
Yeah, number 2.
And there it goes. So right now it's looking like Leduc is only a few seconds back of that group. I think there's a chance he's going to come back to it.
We've got the C group coming through the sprint at the moment.
And our lead pack of Bs is not far behind.
Well, that should be fun catching on the KOM pretty soon then.
It is kind of funny watching watching them ramp up for the sprint on this one, because they are not moving quickly going up that hill. Like 10K an hour heading up the hill.
Yeah.
And to your earlier point about the feather power up on the sprint here, I absolutely see what you mean. That is a sincere disadvantage going down that hill.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could do with that is pull the feather out on the uphill before the sprint starts and enter the sprint at higher speed, but even that is rough.
You must be watching this expert C group because that's exactly what they just did.
Yep. So that didn't look like a whole lot of sprinting from the B group that time.
Well, so I think that that Baron actually was just caught by the C's.
Yep, he was. They just went past him.
Yeah.
Looks like he's putting in a little push to stay in their draft for a bit here.
Shoot.
Brent is
Giving
Brent's
her.
pushing hard.
Putting in the work. Look at the watts he's putting out right now. 500 plus going up this KOM. Fantastic work there, Brent. And taking a look over at our B's, the lead group with Matt Walton and was it Matt DeFreitas? Is that correct? They are roughly 10 seconds behind catching the first pack of C's.
Who have just started. Is that so? Not the actual KOM proper, but the lead into it.
It's the fake KOM, right?
Yeah.
We'll have the catch from B's to C's here momentarily. So as we speak.
Yep.
Yeah, if we were watching the Premier League, I believe that Dave would be talking about how it is now on like Donkey Kong.
What's his other classic? The oh gosh, I can't remember it now.
It's a Donnybrook.
A Donnybrook. What is a Donnybrook? I love it so much. It's this classic, line now that anybody who watches Zwift racing knows. It's a Donnybrook. But what is a Donnybrook?
It's like a brawl, a bar fight. I thought this was a common
The term
expression.
I had never heard until I'd never heard of a Donnybrook until.
Apparently, it's a Canadian bar fight.
Well, it can also be used for a hockey fight. So. Oh, what has happened? It does appear as if we have lost Sam Atkinson.
Oh wow!
Well, I think that's more likely.
I think that's positioning for the KOM. He's sagging back. He's about to push forward.
Yep, that sounds like him.
There he goes, off like a rocket. It looks like Cheville, another herd member. He was doing the same.
Yep. Oh, yep. Sorry, I see Atkinson back there now.
And Mark in the chat is saying that Atkinson's winning the B race in the sprints.
Yeah, potentially. It's. I mean, he's been second and Matt first, up both on the KOM segments both times so far. So it's. Yeah, if Matt's been second, then and that. Yeah, it is going to come down to this last lap.
This is 22 kilometers in total length, correct?
Oh no, Trey just had a dropout.
Oh. Looks like he's back though.
Yeah. And he's pushing angry now.
I get that.
You
I
gotta
think-
love the rage watts.
Yep.
I think my favorite of the rage watts was when we were doing the Herd Club Championships and watching James do bullseye. He had gotten dropped right at the beginning, got to the last one, and did, I think, his best ever 15-second power.
That was excellent Rage Watts. I had some Rage Watts in the Herd Club Championship as well when I had a dropout on the Volcano KOM on the Stampede.
Yeah, Trey.
My problem is I get rage watts on like a 17% climb up bend top, and I can't do it for 2 hours.
No, yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. So I've got to say, I'm not sure that this was a tactic for Sam.
Is he falling back again? It looks
yeah.
like.
So
Maybe.
he has. So he's gone back and joined his teammate. So I'm not sure what the play is exactly there.
Actually giving Trey a lead out.
Yeah. A pretty good one. If Trey can stick with those two up the top, I'll be impressed. That's tough.
Will
but,
definitely be the move.
Yeah. Oh, if you could make it stick, it's the way to go. So Matt and Matt here, if they can, I mean, they've got a minute now. Yeah, that's.
I'd like to think that kind of a gap with only 3.5 kilometers left in this race. They've got to keep that.
I think so, and I mean that's a couple of pairs. So I really don't see. Yeah, I don't think if these two sprint together, they should be able to match the TBR pair behind them. So.
And Trey takes the KOM this time. I think he was second the last time through.
Yeah, no, it's Trey's looking real strong. Yeah, I remember it wasn't this exact course, but the same KOM when we did Lady Liberty, and yeah, that's a tough climb to do 3 times.
Yeah, I think so it was Slaminski who took maybe both of the first 2 times through, and he is 16 seconds back, 12 seconds back now, but quite a bit behind. So may have blown up just a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all going to come down to how many positions, right? So,
Right. Well, there are 5 or 6 in between, 5 or 6
Yeah.
C's in between.
So it looks like Matt DeFreitas is going for a long attack on Matt Walton. So we'll see how this goes. Matt's closing it down.
And in the chat, Sam is conceding third and saying he's not sprinting for it this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean that is to a teammate, so
Yeah.
I get that, but yep.
Do you think that's why he let up on the top of the climb?
That's the only thing I can come up with.
After the show that he put on last week, I am surprised to not see him in the front pack of bees here.
Yeah, I don't know. He's I mean, typically he's capable of it. I mean, it all depends. You don't know what he's doing for training or what he's saving up for. But yeah, no, I think on any given race, if he goes for peak performance, he's got a chance in the Bs if there's any kind of an uphill. So Matt and Matt are here jockeying for position now. I don't think this is just an easy ride together to the finish. These guys are, I would say, going to absolutely pound. Yeah, and there goes Matt.
Which one?
Both, but Matt Walton goes first. Yeah.
I think they're essentially just looking for this left-hand turn and that slight climb before the sprint starts. Is that right?
That is absolutely. Well, it's not the sprint, but this last sprint doesn't count. The one for elapsed time, the one in the lead-in does. So this is they're just going for finish position now. And Matt Walton with the feather. Yeah. Oh yeah, that is absolutely the play, and yeah, he's got a gap. I think that was a decisive attack. I think.
Once he's got something for this little kick.
I don't think he's got I don't think we've got the guns here to match that.
Well, here he comes. Yeah.
No, I think that's it. So that is. Have to wait for the points to tally up, but I got to think that is a win for Matt.
For Matt Walton.
Matt Walton over Matt DeFreitas, yeah. So I'd say it's probably Sam in second for points, but that's just off the top of my head.
Congratulations to a dominant top two for the herd today.
In the C's, they're just coming up to the end as well. Landry is out front, but Trey is coming up 4 seconds back and has a 2-second gap on Jones. Looking like he'll come in second.
That's.
Oh, except Jones has a kick.
So Jones is an A.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's Lloyd Jones from ATP.
Yeah.
He's racing an A. So the next C
it's Staub.
Is Jay on Crazy Flame, and Slaminski and Staub are all together, I think.
Yeah.
So it does look like Trey coming through for second at the finish. And I'll just swap to Alan to see how he gets on this sprint. I gotta say, on the finishing sprint, that you've got the start line is way too. The start of the sprint segment is way too late to start your sprint.
I agree. You've got to crest that hill first.
Yep.
Coming out to do so.
Brent's on his last steep kick for the day, it looks like.
It does.
So as we watch the rest of these guys finish up here, what course do you have next week? It should be the final race of the season, right?
It is the final race of the season.
Real quick.
We can talk about that. So this is this is a moment of madness. So it is 100 kilometers on the Bologna TT circuit.
That
So-
is
As a road
absolute
race.
madness.
As
Yeah.
a road race, not a time trial. So there is drafting, so you can take that, I guess. But yeah, no, it is absolute madness. James is a lunatic, and yeah, that's where we are.
And if you want to ride it as a fun fondo, do it the Saturday 12 Pacific time with Chris and Lauren and I, and I'm sure a few more.
Likely.
Boy, that's a long day, and not a pleasant one.
You are correct, sir. You
Now,
are
the good news
quite correct,
is-
sir.
Technically, if you have enough points already and you're happy with your position, you don't have to race that one. It can get dropped, right?
You are
Correct.
absolutely correct.
That is fantastic. I know some dirt guys who probably are going to take that option. On the flip side, it may be in an excellent place to move up a couple spots and get some final points before the season ends.
You are also correct, which is just the evil incentive that James puts in to get people to ride this.
And if you're like me and you've only done about 4 of the races anyway, it doesn't matter. So
There's no reason to do it anyway, but we might as well because it's there.
So what have some of the other there was 10 laps of hilly.
It was
Was
so it was
last
10. It was 10 laps for A, 9 for B. So I can't claim 10. I only did 9. But that was also insane. We've done Ventop and the Alp as that final race before. Traditionally the final race of HSRL has had some interesting courses.
As it should be. I don't know if I'll join you for the broadcast. That sounds like a long one.
I'm not sure we're going to attempt to broadcast that, Sean.
Maybe just stick a live cam on somebody and say, "Have fun."
Yep.
Maybe we should let GCN know and see if they want to broadcast it.
Ooh.
We might know a guy.
We might know a guy. So Brent is moving on. He's it does look like he's got a pretty sizable and safe lead. And looks like Mew has 42 seconds on him.
Yeah, he dropped me on the climb like a bad habit.
Gotta say, Brent, it doesn't look good to make up 42 seconds from here.
Like, good DSing, Craig. I appreciate it.
What's that?
That's some good DSing.
Anytime. I like to be the voice of optimism, but every now and again you got to throw in a little realism. So Brent, solid race.
Yeah, little numbers, so it was kind of scattered all over the place.
Yep.
But credit to Stuart Lynn for being the comeback kid every friggin' lap.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't caught you this lap, but I think it's the first one he hasn't, isn't it?
Yep, every time after the hill, he just smashed it and got up there.
Not very much, and yeah, it looks like our the L Jones of ATP, not the herd L Jones, is still out on course as well. So, no, good result and good fun field here.
Yeah, I had a good battle with that Mew. We were really close to the top of the second climb.
Yep.
He dropped an arrow on the flat bit and got across.
It
And
does
then
look
he was
like
just too strong in the third one.
yeah, it does look like Lloyd may have been trying to pull the sprints, but I think he's been a little bit too far behind on the KOMs to really make that pay. But we'll see whether he can jump a position. Well, and
Yeah, I'd be
that's
surprised if he was faster than us on the sprints. He was a good sprinter too.
yeah.
Good
So
stuff, guys. Thanks for the commentary.
Once again, thank you for having me come over here and represent the wonderful That's Inside Riding Trainers. Great group of guys. And we're looking forward to the next season starting. I will be racing that one.
So do you have a name for the operation this time, Sean?
No, I don't. We've got a new organizing body. I can't commit to that since I'm running a mountain bike racing series here locally, and that is kind of dominating most of my free time right now. I don't have a a good name yet. Do you have any ideas?
I don't know. Is it Operation Fuzzy Bear?
I mean, I would Fuzzy Bear. Okay, Fuzzy Bear. I was thinking more like a shepherd,
Oh,
like
yeah.
David. I don't know. We'll have to come up with something pretty good.
Absolutely. Well, so thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week or whenever else you show up.
Probably not. Yeah.
Probably not next week, but the next time. Bye.
Yeah.
There. Now it's clear.